Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. I am your host, June Archer. This is the Winner Circle. This is 50.com. My guest today, an amazing actor. You have seen him on the silver screen. You've seen him on stage. And now you've seen him not only just network television, but you've seen him on cable television, stars in your living room on Sunday nights. This man has been shaking the block like something crazy, and we have the opportunity to talk to him. Please welcome to this amazing platform, Daniel Sunjata. Daniel, what's going on, brother?
What is up, man? Click, clack, get back, blow. What's
You
up?
heard? Man, listen. Congratulations on all the recent success, but notwithstanding, congratulations on the journey, man. How has this journey been for you? Stage, film, television. You went to the Tisch School of Arts. How has this journey been for you?
Yeah, before I went to Tisch, I went to FAMU. A lot of people don't know I went to HBCU. I went to Florida A&M University. It's been crazy, man, and it's hard to just sum it up. But you know, I've been really blessed. I've been able to work in all three. One of my main goals was I wanted to do theater, I wanted to do TV, and I wanted to do film. And I've been able to pay my bills acting. You know, my entire career, I've never had to, work another job. That's a very, there's levels to the stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you have you got the Leonardo DiCaprios, the Denzel Washingtons, the Don Cheadles, the Jeffrey Wrights. I'm still I feel like I'm still trying to move in that direction. But when I tell you how difficult it is to pay your bills doing this for a living, it's tough. And I'm proud of that accomplishment. So,
and you've had a lot of success. If people really pay attention to some of the history, you were in Sex and the City. You some really major and pivotal pieces of being here, being there. Now a season regular on the Power Universe, Power Book 2, playing Mecca.
Yeah.
Man, how did it feel to be alongside people like Mary J. Blige, Michael Rainey Jr., Woody McClain, like some heavy hitters?
Yeah.
How did it feel?
Well, I mean, just when you just look at the list of icons that are attached to this, to the Power Universe and Power Book Ghost 2 in particular, we're talking Method Man, 50 on the production angle, Mary J. Blige. Like I said, I went to FAMU, and this is how old I am. When I went to FAMU, I think my freshman year is the year that Mary dropped "What's the 411." Okay,
that was a good year. That was a good year.
I literally came up on Queen Blige's music. And when I stepped on set, I have to admit, man, I was a little starstruck. I was nervous, man. I was like, oh my God, this is Mary J. Blige, But some of the other people you mentioned, I would say most notably Woody McClain. The majority of my scenes, of Mecca scenes, involved Kane's story. And so I got to act with Woody a lot. We got real tight, real close. That was amazing. Super talented dude. I just caught him in The Harder They Fall. He had a cameo in that movie.
Yeah,
he did, man. Killed it. So no, man, it was a true blessing. And I can still remember the day I got the call from Courtney Kemp to offer me the role of Mecca. And she was like, Daniel, I wrote this role for you. I don't think anybody else could play this role. It's not the kind of thing that you tend to get cast as, which is why I loved it. Like, this was a total left turn, a total departure from anything like that I had ever done in my career. Got to shave my head, was rocking the baldy.
And I want to talk about that. Like, you went all the way in. When you talk about acting and being that kind of actor that really sets the tone to give you an unapologetic perspective into that character. We've seen you with the hair. We've seen you as a gentleman. We've seen you something other than what we see you as Mecca. Like, how was it just trying to jump in and dive into that role? All right, so Courtney gives it to you, and this is not going to be what you are normally used to doing. How do you prepare for something like this?
Well, first of all, again, I have to just give props to Courtney Kemp because she really over prepares her actors. So in my entire 20-something year career, I've never had an on-camera job where showrunner, executive producer, creator of the show, what have you, that she gives you like a 4-page treatment, a four-page treatment of what the major signposts for your character are going to be over the course of the season. So I knew where Mecca generally was going. I knew that he had these two different sides to him. You know, he had that street, you know, moving weight, drug dealing kind of side. And then he also had this romantic, you know, kind of softer, more sensitive side, because his soft spot and his entire motivation for every choice that he made was to get Monet and Zeke back. So you could kind of understand some of the messed up stuff he did, because you knew his intentions were good. They might have been, his perspective might have been a little skewed, but so knowing all of that coming in, I was fully prepared, you know, by the production itself, and had all the support in the world. And to go back to the Baldy, once I was finding a hard time like embodying Mecca, but once they shaved my head and I looked in the mirror, I was that's that dude.
There he is,
that guy, you know. And then they gave me the gorilla pimp jackets and the, you know what I mean. And I was just like, man, it was awesome experience.
Now let's talk about what the people want to know, Mr. International Global Snitch.
The goat of global snitching.
The goat of global international. Now you find yourself in this predicament, and it's really all to get Zeke Monet back, man. But what is the underlying thing that keeps gnawing at Mecca? What is gnawing at him?
Wow. Man, that's a tough one. Like, you know, one thing that I never saw, let me tell you this. One thing Courtney did not tell me, one thing that the Ghost production team never told me, was that at the end of it, he was going to end up being an FBI informant and a snitch. I didn't know that till I saw that episode. I think it was episode number 9, where I have that scene with Tariq in the dorm room. And I had that one monologue where I like tell him like, yo, you know, when you see your father, tell him I said, good looking out, kind of thing. So I didn't see that part coming, and that was good. That was good. I think one of the reasons why she didn't tell me that was so that I would play the character totally straight the entire time. Right. And it would be even more of a surprise to the audience. Right.
So when that pivot comes, it's a organic pivot. Like the pivot is there to kind of set the tone and say, man, wow. And I think all of us were very taken aback, like, oh, snap.
Now, let me say this, though. If you go back, there was the introductory scene where you first meet Mecca, where Mecca, Kane, and Lil Guap are coming out of the back of a bar or something into an alley, and we have that confrontation with the GTG or whatever.
Yep.
One of the very first thing that Kane says to me is, "You smell like a narc," and and I wasn't quite a narc, but it just so happens that always trust that gut instinct, because he was right. Turned out I was not to be trusted. So,
always. Yeah. I want to ask you this. What is the significance of the engagement ring that you gave Monet? Tariq ends up getting it, and he gives it to Davis. Is that going to come back to, I mean, he's no longer on the board, but does that come back and tie up some loose ends for us? Like, what is that correlation with that ring? What does that signify?
The way that all that I saw it as, it was extremely beautiful, precious, rare gem. And it symbolized Mecca's. This is a very basic answer, but to me, it just symbolized how much he wanted Monet. He wanted that to really land on her. The entire time, though, he's trying to impress her with like helicopter rides. They're on the yacht. You know, he's offering trust funds for the kids. I know you saw all the big body whips in the airplane hangar. He had like, my God, bro.
Pulling out all stops.
Pulling out all stops, but really trying to seduce her with the kind of life that he wants to give her. And I just think that ring was like the ultimate symbol of that. And so he was really upset about losing that bag and that ring. Yeah, for sure. I don't think it's going to come back again. I don't think that there's going to be any further reference to it, but
okay. So I know you're pretty familiar with the 48 laws of power. So I want to put you on the spot here, because there's 2 laws here that come into play right when you're talking about those particular moments. Law 46: never appear too perfect. Right. Yeah. And then you got 32: play the people's fantasies. You just talked about Monet is being pampered and shown the yacht, the jet, the gear, the ring. How important is it when you're talking about making these moves that these laws come into play when you're trying to manipulate or seduce someone?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess the diehard fans, this has probably come up on some of your other episodes. The 48 Laws of Power is what inspired the creation of the flagship show Power to begin with. That's one of the reasons why they called it Power.
Power, yep.
Yeah, I can't tell you that I know all 48 Laws of Power off the top of my head, but the two that you just cited, rule number 46 and rule number 32, I don't know if he did such a good job with never appear too perfect. I think he was trying to come off as perfect, at least to Monet, as best he possibly could. Maybe lying probably doesn't really help. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you get caught.
We can't get nothing past women when we do that. Like
I was going to say, not that that's ever happened to me.
No, that's never. Yeah.
Come on. But I do think maybe he did employ law number 46 in terms of trying to draw Cain in. Cain was a key piece of Mecca's plan. It was his way in. That's how he was going to slide in and become the supplier for the Tejadas. You know what I mean? But that Cain was a key part of that. And I think there were moments where Mecca made it seem like he was like struggling with the idea, and he was like, not quite sure of himself or sure of the situation, but willing to give Cain a shot, kind of a thing. Right, so I think in the context of that relationship, I think law number 46, he did a good job. Play to people's fantasies. I think he employed that quite well.
Very, very well.
Especially against Monet. I think that there were moments where Monet was thinking about it. She was really, I think, struggling with, maybe just going along with this fantasy.
And it wasn't just the stuff, Dan. It was spending time because her husband's in jail. Like, so it's enticing. You taking me out to dinner? Like, you want to be seen in public with me? The fantasy of that. You get drunk off of that. You could really, and she was leaning towards it.
She was sipping that lean. I had her.
Sipping on that lean.
Mecca wasn't expecting that. That was an unexpected kink in his plan was Lorenzo coming home. See, he wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone at that dinner table was expecting that.
Yeah, that was a wrinkle. That was a wrinkle for sure.
And I want to throw this at you. Just to further focus on the 48 Laws of Power, I think Mecca executed Law 19, know who you're dealing with, to the T. But he neglected to implement Law 29, which was planned all the way to the end.
So I would call this his tragic flaw. It was the reason why his plans fell apart. That's a very astute observation, brother. That's the tragic flaw. It's that thing. When there's a blind spot, by definition, you cannot see. You can't see it. It's something that you don't have the self-awareness or the situational awareness to know that you have left a large opening for something bad to happen. So he just never saw it coming, and he got railroaded by his own short-sighted vision.
And that's great. Sometimes we happen to fall into that. Now, Ghost and Kanan, they were very callous, very calculated. Mecca's the same way, Daniel. Same way, cut from the same cloth. What is the connection? Because you do tell Tariq, man, tell your pops, good looking out. For those who didn't really follow the storyline, like how was that connection made? And is there history there?
Well, yeah. So I saw that there was like a rumor going on, like floating around the web, that like Mecca might somehow be Ghost's brother, or that they're related or something. I got direct confirmation from Courtney that just was not true. But what I did think was cool was how they tied his arc all the way back to, Lobos. And that there were things that Mecca did which involved ratting, being a snitch, but that ultimately resulted in Ghost's death. So that made Mecca's relevance to the Power universe, so exponentially more significant. And I thought that was really cool.
You've had the opportunity to work with 50 in this Power universe, and Courtney, like, what have been some of the key things? It may not have been a direct conversation, maybe watching how he moves. What has inspired you since working on Power and working with 50 Cent?
So I'm not going to lie. I only really got to meet 50 one time. and it was real quick. I was in the hair and makeup chair, you know, making you look beautiful and everything. And all of a sudden, I see some swag coming in my peripheral vision. I turn and I'm like, oh my God, it's 50 Cent. And he just like looked at me, gave me that smile, came over, like, you know, dapped me up, and then he was out. It was like, it was real quick. It was sincere, but it was real quick. But he wasn't on set that much. And you know, the man has a lot of responsibilities. So I didn't take it personally. I was just happy that they gave me the opportunity. I mostly just saw him when we did we would do a weekly table read of the next script, and that was on Zoom. But yeah, we never really got to, you know, pound it out.
Now coming from HBCU, very hot topic. We're trying to inspire young people to take that as an opportunity to go to these institutions and learn. What was that experience for you, and how has it helped you as a young man and as a grown man, that experience?
Well, man, the experience was amazing. I mean, I had such a great time down in Tallahassee, Florida. I will say when I first got there, I was a business administration major. I didn't go there and start out in the arts. And I spent about one semester doing that before I realized that was not the hemisphere of the brain in which my talents happen to lie. I'm not good at math, not good at logistics, not good at, you know, that's really not my lane. And through a circuitous course of events, I ended up tripping over the theater department, and I felt like I found my people. You know, theater majors are just weirdos. We're all a bunch of like gypsies. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, this is my tribe right here. And then it was pivotal, man, because there's a brother named Talvin Wilkes, Wilkes, I believe. And what Talvin was doing, I believe he's Princeton or Yale educated black man. He was traveling around to the HBCUs, and he was directing classical plays, kind of plays that, you know, we don't usually, you know, you might do Checkmates, you know, that was like Denzel Washington, and I can't remember who, Felicia Rashad or somebody on Broadway, but rarely Shakespeare, rarely like, you know, elevated language and, you know, classical text on stage. Which being, you know, that it's not necessary, but it is having the opportunity to do that. It definitely broadens your skill set and prepares you to do so many different things for more reasons that I could give, that we could do a whole interview about why that is the case. Right. So he comes to FAMU and he directs Hamlet, and I got cast as Hamlet. So, I mean, I have no idea why. I had no ability. I didn't think I was going to be able to memorize the lines, you know, but this was an experience that I had specifically because I went to FAMU, which helped prepare me, gave me the confidence. Once we got through the run of the show, I was like, wow, if I could do that, man, and people are responding well, man, maybe I won't say do anything, but maybe I have some potential here. Maybe I'm kind of not bad. I'm good. You know what I mean? So I got a tremendous amount of my self-confidence from my experience at Florida A&M University. I got really good foundational training. And also at that time, see, I'm multi-ethnic. I don't know what the politically correct term is, but my mother, Irish and German, my father, Black. Now, also adopted, okay, raised in a white household, went to predominantly white institutions until I got to high school. Mount Carmel High School on the south side of Chicago has everything: Mexicans, Blacks, whites, and then from every socioeconomic strata. Right. So when it came time to pick a college, my mom was like, Daniel, I really think you should go to a Black college. I think you should go to a HBCU. She wanted me to go to is it Hampton University?
Hampton, yep, in Virginia.
Yeah, she wanted me to go to Hampton. I got in, but the tuition couldn't afford that. It was pretty expensive at the time. So anyway, ended up going to FAMU. But what I appreciated about my mother's perspective was she was like, you're a Black man. You're a Black man. And, you know, you might have, you know, your mother might be white, but, you know, I think you need this experience. You know, it's going to be pivotal in terms of you finding your sense of self and your sense of identity, culturally, ethnically, you know, and it's going to affect the way you move in the world, because the way you see yourself is not necessarily the way other people see you. And they're going to treat you according to their perception of you 95% of the time. Not everybody does that, but it's kind of human nature. Right. So, man, for all those reasons, I didn't mean to go on such a long digression, but for all those reasons,
I love it.
FAMU was key.
Now with that, I want to ask you this: what during that time or throughout that journey, what was the best piece of advice that you were given from your mom that you could give someone who's struggling to uh, pay a bill, get through school, put their kids through school, trying to find the light at the end of the tunnel that you were given by your parents that you live by or you tap into every now and then?
Yeah, one thing that she would always remind me is that she was like the only what did she used to she said that like the only constant in the universe is change or something. And what she meant by that was don't get too high with the highs, don't get too low with the lows. You know, you always got to keep life must live. So you got to always be putting one foot in front of the other. You get knocked down 7 times, get up 8, get knocked down 9 times, get up 10. But she said that at a time when things weren't going very well. And basically what she was saying between the lines is if you could count on anything, it's the fact that if things are bad right now, eventually they have to get better, you know?
Right.
And, you know, as we go through the vicissitudes of life, doesn't really even matter what color we are, you know, or whatever, where we come from. That's a key insight.
I want to ask you this then. What I am super excited about is vicissitude, sequitus, right? Like you obviously read. What are you reading currently?
Oh man, believe it or not, I'm reading. I never finished the 48 Laws of Power. I can't. It's around here somewhere. So lately, I've been reading the 48 Laws of Power, and the other one is I'm about to go get it right now. Hold up.
If you're tuned in, we're talking to the amazing Daniel Sunjata.
It's this one. It's called "You Are the Placebo, Making Your Mind Matter" by Dr. Joe Dispenza. So those are the 2 things I'm reading right now.
I'm just impressed by the vocabulary, and I love learning new words. I love reading, so I really appreciate that you shared that with us. I'm gonna ask you this, man. Music is a soundtrack to our lives. Up to this point, what song best represents your journey, or what artist represents your journey up to this point?
Well, I have to go really off the top of my head with Bob Marley, and part of the reason it's for all the reasons I don't need to. I mean, the man was larger than life, amazing. But you know, I didn't know. I was a fan of Bob for at least 10 years before I found out that his father was white and his mother was black. I just thought he was black. I never knew that he was multi-ethnic. Yeah. So as I had already been a fan, and when I say a fan, I mean the lyrics and everything. I watched every documentary, like just was crazy about Bob Marley. When I found that out, I just felt even more kind of like, you know, endeared to like his spirit and so he represented even more to me in a certain way than he did in general, I think, to the world. So I always hold him real close to my heart. Yeah, he's the artist. Did you ask for the song?
If you have a song, definitely let us know. There's a
Forever Loving Jah. Forever Loving Jah. Yeah, that's the one.
That's a dope. Right? And I know the catalog because I'm Jamaican, so I know the catalog. And it's hard to choose, but for you to share that one, I think that's amazing. It's going to inspire someone. If you were to come back, Mecca were to come back, if he could do it all over again, who would he get rid of?
Man, wow. Who would he have gotten rid of? Huh.
If you put Mecca back on a board, who does he eliminate in order to stay on the board?
That is a real tough question, man. I mean, I think he would have, you know, I thought that Lorenzo and Mecca were on a collision course. What I thought was at the end of the season, we were going to be sending our street soldiers after each other, and we were going to end up having like a Vin Diesel, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, like knockdown, drag out fight, you know, but it didn't end up going that way. Off the top of my head, I would say eliminate Lorenzo because he was the threat. He was like, it's me or him in terms of Monet's choice.
Right. He's standing in the way of Monet.
Kind of standing in the way of Monet, and he's a powerful, you know, he would be a formidable enemy. So a powerful individual in the context of the show. That's my best answer off the top of my head. I don't think I would get rid of Kane. He already bagged and tagged Chef real quick, right across. He just didn't even care. You know what I'm saying? It's probably Lorenzo.
All right, so
I wanted to say something else.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were Jamaican. So when I tell you about Bob, what you don't know is I went to 9 Mile. I went to St. Anne. physically. I
Wow.
went to go visit his mausoleum. Like it was like a spiritual pilgrimage for me. So I went to Jamaica, and specifically my main thing was I wanted to go, go there and visit where he had been laid to rest. And that was a cool experience. I just had to share that.
No, that's dope. I just went there for my birthday in November. I went to St. Anne. That's where we stayed
Okay.
in the villa there. So all that history, man, and just to walk those streets with those who came before us, man, just it's so inspiring, man, so motivating to see where we can go, man, and what we can accomplish, man. So in the spirit of figuring out who you would have gotten rid of, I want to play this game which you call University of Dope, Daniel.
Okay.
And unpopular opinions are welcome is University of Dope. I've been playing with a lot of people. We love it. So we're going to do an abbreviated version, and we're going to talk about erasing one from hip-hop history. If you had to erase one from hip-hop history, Daniel, who would it be? Would it be A, Curtis Blow, B, EPMD, C, Kumo D, or D, Slick Rick?
Now you can't front on any of their contributions to the art form, but I never really liked Slick Rick's style. I didn't like the eye patch. It's just a matter of personal taste. You know what I mean? I love his music, but man, I can't get rid of Kumo D, EPMD. Come on, man. And Curtis is like an architect, man. He's like, that'd be literally pulling out a part of the foundation. I think Slick was a little bit after Curtis. I think I'd have to go with D.
All right. Erase one person. One got to go. Who is it? J. Cole, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, or Childish Gambino?
I'm going to say Childish because he has so many other things going on. It really wouldn't hurt him. He's got TV shows and stuff like that. So I'll just say Childish.
All right. Erase one person from hip hop history. Mecca.
Vanilla.
Who would it be? Vanilla Ice?
Yes.
He's like, we ain't got to go for it. We ain't got to go
for that.
One got to go. A, Leaders of the New School. B, Beastie Boys. C, Arrested Development. Or D, Black Sheep.
Beastie Boys. Beastie Boys, yeah.
Erase one from hip hop history. Is it A, Swiss Beats, B, Dr. Dre, C, The RZA, or D, Timbaland?
Oh man. None of the above. None of the above. I'm sorry. That's not fair. That one's not fair. You can't do it.
And I should have told you can only pass once, but I'm gonna let you slide. Here's the last one, Daniel.
Okay.
If you had to erase one from hip hop history, who would it be? A, Nas, B, the Notorious B.I.G., C, Tupac, or D, Jay-Z?
Oh man, so I should have passed on this one. Notorious Pac and Jay. Oh God. I hope I never bump into this guy in New York, but I'm sorry, Nas. Nas would have to go. Oh God.
Listen, it's all fun. We love these artists.
Rhyme book. Why'd you do that?
Artists. We love their music. Unpopular opinions are welcome. Is University of Dope. Daniel, Sunjata, thank you for playing. Let me ask you this, brother. What's next for you, man? Where can we see you? What can we support that you're doing? And where can we find you?
Yeah, so sometime towards the end of this year, I just wrapped a show called Echoes. It's a Netflix limited series, only 7 episodes. Michelle Monaghan, Matt Bomer from White Collar. So that should come out at the end of the year. And other than that, I'm just waiting to see what the universe sends my way, man.
Brother, we love you. We love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. You're inspiring so many. Don't go nowhere, man. You stay right there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Daniel Sunjata, a.k.a. Mecca. You've seen him. You love him. He's taken off the board, but he has so much more work left that I'm certain you're going to see him soon. This is your host, June Archer. This is the Winner Circle. This is 50.com. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Be good to someone.
My guy.
Peace.
All right. Bye-bye.